I made a Stinky C plushie, please buy it, link in the description and more about him later in the video. Thanks. I truly don't know why, but for as long as I can remember, I have had a favorite Angry Bird over any other and it was not close. The green, long-beaked boomerang bird known as Hal is just perfect, and I'm definitely not the only one who thinks so. The weird thing is, Hal has also become the real underdog of the main flock. From Red to Terrence, each member is in nearly every game and TV show. Bubbles is the Halloween icon, Stella got her own dang spin-off, and then there's just Hal, waiting for his moment in the spotlight. Well, I say that time is right freaking now. We're ranking every Hal ever. You cannot stop me. Hal has by far the most diverse list of redesigns, despite definitely appearing less than any other bird in the series. So we won't have to go through every single game like we did for Bomb, but we will get a lot of great designs that are much bigger than a simple art style change. And, well, there is one version of Hal that, wait, what were we talking about again? Whatever. Anyways, don't skip this part or you legally hate Hal. Today we'll be ranking Hal, 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 and of course, the one, the only, Sasha freaking Lynx. If it wasn't already obvious, Hal is the word of the day, and making a drinking game out of me saying this name will turn you green, so do not do it. Without further ado, let's find out which of these boomerang birds are perfection, and which of these birds are about to give me a massive, you know what? Let's just forget I said anything. Please, oh please, can we start off with some Hal concept art? The Bomb one is really damn boring in comparison. Since Hal was added after the game launched, there was a lot more effort put into these. As the boomerang bird, well, they took that pretty dang literally. I love how this comes across as an evolution image out of context, or one of those Animorph covers. Anyways, let's just say he would not be my favorite bird if he was one of these first three. We'll add them all to our list, of course. Most of the birds are almost nothing like the birds they're based on, but Hal is pretty obviously a toucan, an emerald toucanet if we're being specific. They even used a reference image of a toucan for one of his prototypes, which is pretty funny looking. But toucans are generally one of my favorite birds, and I'm honestly not sure if that's partly why I love Hal or the other way around. But let's put this toucan reference in C and an emerald toucanet in S tier. Alright, last early design before we freaking rank the first Hal, I swear. I've really never seen this beta design for a Hal. Apparently this was in the game at one point. I really like this one. He feels much more stern for some reason. I love how little real estate there is for his eye to fit on his face. I love that he sticks his pointy tongue straight out while he's flying. I really just love this Hal. I'm giving him an A tier. There we go. Finally, that's a Hal I've actually seen before. How would you like to do a maze based on this Hal? We're not quite at what I consider the peak of Hal's design, but this one is simply classic. It's actually still used in seasons for some unknown reason. Genuinely, every single Angry Birds game has a completely unique design for Hal. What an insane character. I think the yellow bit around his beak is meant to emulate some real life toucans, but I'd say it's a lot like Bomb's stupid dot. It's just unnecessary. When he's launched, he looks insane and kind of horrible actually. It's one of the bigger reasons I don't like this one as much. It's a flawed design, I'd say. A tier. And there he is. The pinnacle of Hal, in my opinion, is his classic design. It's so simple, so perfect. His front-facing sprite, amazing. Want to see something even better? His back-facing sprite. And as we've finally made it to the actual first Hal, let's go over what he does in-game. As I've mentioned many times, he's the boomerang bird, launching a lot further than any other flock member so he can turn around and attack from behind. That is such a unique and important skill to have. No one else can take a shot from behind, no one. He is the absolute king of backshots, and you can quote me on that. Unlocking him from his cage was incredible. The big setup where only Terrence and Hal are playable is one of the greatest chapters in Angry Birds history, and just like that, I'm falling in love with my favorite Angry Bird all over again. Nothing could stop me from putting him in S tier. So I hate that I have to include this, but people will be mad if I don't. A random browser Angry Birds game called Angry Birds Heikki had Hal in that original early design, but with one key difference. Can you spot it? Time's up. that yellow ring around his beak is gone. Oh wow, almost as if it was just the normal ass design. F tier. And then he just disappeared. It's easier to list the games he did appear in than the ones he didn't. We got Angry Birds Space, Angry Birds Star Wars, Angry Birds Epic, Angry Birds Fight, even Angry Birds 2 was missing Hal for years. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Obviously I skipped over some of the games he was in during that time. As many of you know, a bird very similar looking to Hal was planned to join the Angry Birds Space flock. We know him as Drillbird, and a lot of people still believe he was based on Hal, or at least maybe just a relative of Hal. He has no boomerang abilities, and therefore I refuse to place him highly on our list. Drillbird is awesome, but not a Hal, I think. C tier. Like I said, Hal wasn't an epic, but technically I guess he kinda was? Through a trophy in the arena mode specifically. Thanks to Master of Pasta for showing this to me, I had no idea it existed. It's kinda just a C tier though. In the Fuji TV version of Angry Birds, we got an exclusive chapter with a bunch of fun little costumes for our characters. I barely quickly ranked the bomb one last time, but look at these guys. Ninja Red is pretty great, you can't deny it. But Kendo Hal is good too, and he could double as a baseball catcher and you wouldn't even know the difference. B tier. Hal had barely gotten to exist, and suddenly Angry Birds decided he needed a completely new look and gave him a cowboy hat. Hey, that's not so bad. Wait a minute, what's underneath that hat? Oh my god, what have they done to my boy? Okay, of course I'm exaggerating. I don't hate the new Hal, but you have to admit it's quite the jarring evolution. Clearly the goal is to lean even more towards the toucan look, but in this image he is barely green anymore, which makes me sad. He does get a very green car titled the Zoomerang, which is a good pun, let's be fair, but why is his car shoe? Well, whatever. The Go character also got unique skills and stuff, and Hal received a tornado. It hits all the players in front of him and can collect stuff in the other modes. It's versatile and just good. Hal is unironically one of the better characters in the game objectively. Now please, allow me to rank his 2D design in his car and his 3D design because they are quite different. The cowboy hat is a great look, and as we said, he's very good, so S tier. And the 3D model is not as great, I must say, so C tier. Wait a second, they gave him a cowboy hat because he's bald? Poor Hal had to deal with male pattern baldness, and through a midlife crisis he undertook major surgery to revamp his entire style. That's my headcanon. His next appearance was in the Rio 2 update, where each character was promoted to a brand new art style. For most characters they didn't really change much, but of course Hal looks completely different. I am confident he's just longer now because his beak is 4 times the size of his head, and it really makes his movement feel off. When he's spinning in the air, it's hard to get a grasp on the momentum, and therefore makes it hard to line up your shots. Maybe it's just me, but I really don't like Hal levels in this game, and as the biggest Hal fan, that is hard to do. Another F tier. I was hoping we wouldn't get any, but here we are. I believe our next game to cover is Angry Birds Transformers, so time to get a completely new redesign again. This time it actually makes sense, and it's incredible. Grimlock was already an awesome Transformer, and to give Hal the honor of being the dinosaur robot is one of the greatest treasures of all. You unlock Graceland Grimlock so early too. Hal being one of your first Transformers is insane considering his usual reputation. Anyways, I love how they translated him here, and the 3-wheeler transformation is so fun. His weapon is a beam shooting out of his beak. This just gets better and better. And beams are great because you can just swipe across the screen to delete missiles and stuff. He's not perfect, but let's say A tier. There's some 2D illustrations to Grimlock that I surprisingly feel the opposite way that I normally do. I don't think this style is as good as his in-game model. We're going to be fighting for D's and F's on this list. Let's put this one in D, who cares, right? I was pretty mean to all the Energon variants in the game, even Grimlocks, but Energon Grimlock is just stronger but dies a little easier. I won't say S, but he can be an A. Goldbite Grimlock is a bit boring. He's not gold enough to stand out, but his weapon was updated to push back blocks now, which is great for toppling structures. I still prefer the others, so C it is. It's so cool that Hal got to be evil for once. I don't think there's a single other instance of that happening ever. Trypticon is a Decepticon, and I like how his colors are very different to every other Grimlock we've covered. It really helps him stand out. They gave him a very similar shot to Megatron, firing black holes as his primary weapon. I do quite like this style. The main downside is that it can take very long to recharge. I'll put him in the middle of these Transformers rankings in B. Lastly, he even got the honor of being a combiner, Volcanicus. This just proves to me Grimlock was Hal's OTP. With his head on a robot like everyone else, it's uncanny, it just feels wrong. Sadly, this is one of my least favorite combiners. It doesn't feel overpowered enough to justify its existence. I don't necessarily think Volcanicus is an F-tier transformer, but on our list of Hals, he has to be on the bottom. That's right, Stinky Steve is finally real, and despite the name, I promise the plush doesn't actually smell. My goal was to make him feel right at home alongside the rest of your collection at a nice 5-inch scale. He'll be the same height next to my Chuck or Matilda, or he can be a cute little baby next to a big ol' red. I love him so much, I couldn't be happier with the final product. Even the hair, which seemed like it'd be difficult to translate into a physical object, is better than I initially imagined. He's soft, he's cute, and he can be yours too. Check the link in the description to get one for yourself. We need 100 sales to make it happen, so if you pledge and we don't reach the goal, don't worry, you'll get your money back. Just checking the price compared to the other YouTuber plushies, I hope you can see the sacrifice and profit I'll personally be making from this thing, just to make it more available to all of you. So get your own Stinky C plushie before he's gone forever. Thank you for all your support to make this possible in the first place. Now seems as good a time as any to jump into the comics and the trailers portion of a video, as most of them feature Hal in his current redesign, the bald toucan one. For example, look at any of the official Angry Birds comics, and regardless of what artist worked on it, Hal keeps the same look. They even recently made a 15th anniversary comic all about him titled Happy Birthday Hal. The personality Laura J has given Hal in this comic simply through her drawings are incredible. Each panel has a better and better depiction of Hal, and then just get a story where every member of the flock interacts with him, only for Hal to get annoyed by all of them and leave them stranded so he can look sultry as Hal is the power move of the century. I'll rank a few different comic art styles for Hal, but you know this one's an S tier. There's a cover for one of the Transformers comics with Optimus Prime riding on Grimlock, and is generally one of the most hardcore, badass, red-pilled, based, let's see, far out, kicking, fab, funky, Zooly, unironically epic looking pieces of art ever created. And then we also got a Grimlock wheelbarrow, so a little less Zooly, just a little. We'll throw a couple comic Grimlocks on there too. Ever heard of Stella and the Egg Tree? How about Red and the Great Fling Off? They're very wholesome children's books with a nice little art style, and look at that, a classic Hal, you love to see it. Not bad, I'd say C tier though. Usually the same birds look the same way in all the trailers and animated shorts, but when Hal is in one of these things, it is important. One of the all-time greatest Angry Birds animations is the classic Angry Birds Presents Summer Pignic, an animation for a season's chapter that really isn't that special, especially for Hal, yet he is the main character here, almost like he's being introduced. The birds are hitting an impenetrable wall over and over until Hal comes by. He wants to help but accidentally tips a slingshot, causing Red to cuss him out. Then all the birds lay on their backs and death rattles, so Hal swoops in to save the day. He doesn't boomerang on purpose, he just bumps into some pigs and changes the law of physics, saving the eggs just in time and being awarded 3 stars by Jake. And I know it's him because I'm Jake, and I'd give Hal 3 stars any day. Summer Picnic Hal is best Hal, and that is a god tier Hal, so I guess S tier will suffice. The Transformers trailer had a very distinct 80s cartoon style, with Hal and Grimlock both appearing, so I'll put them both on the list too, despite not being all too exciting. If you've never seen the Angry Birds Coca-Cola commercial, you basically just missed a full Angry Birds Toons episode, featuring Hal for some reason. Bomb and Terrence ain't even here. I have no idea how or why Hal even made it, but holy shit, look at him swim. I didn't even know he could do that. They went all out, and it's kind of unfortunate that we've seen this house so many times. It'd be weird to give this one S. It looks the freaking same as the rest, but get pranked because I am putting it an S. Pranked, pranked, pranked. You gotta admit, the bomb memes were pretty funny from last time, so even though this isn't official, let's read some realistic Hal memes. I made a porn account using my school email. I sold meth on a My Little Pony forum. I poop with my pants on. Call my wife and children the gritty, cause I hit them on a daily basis. Alright, I think that's enough. If we go any further, most of these just get extremely racist. It's S tier, of course it's S tier. Let's move to our movies and TV show section. While Hal never appeared in any Angry Birds Toons episodes, you can find a few instances of what he would have looked like in random promotional materials. Of course, since the Rio 2 and Go designs all use their Toons looks, we know this would have been the version that would have been used. The Coke commercial is basically good enough too. But take a look at this Spring Madness magazine page. Not to be confused with Summer Madness, obviously. I think this is our best look at Toons Hal we will ever get, with that distinct sketchiness of yellow around his eye. It's not that different, but it is clearly in the Toon style, and I'm even more sad now he could have just been in the show. I'm not gonna rank that because you can barely even see him, but obviously he'd be S tier. Who's ready for our next Hal redesign? How many is that now, like 7? 10? This one makes a lot more sense though, as everyone received a redesign for the Angry Birds movie. Surprisingly, after many years of this new Hal, the movie design brought it back to the classic. He's got hair on his head once again, can you believe it? Let's start with this concept art, where he really didn't change all too much. Clearly a long body helped create the boomerang shape they were going for, and yeah, that's genius for his movie design, and I really think the one they landed on is the best here. Except this one where he's the width of a pencil, and I love him for that. Anyways, back to the movie. Hal and Bubbles were given very minor roles in the movie, but at least they got their own little spotlight at the climax with both of their powers being used. Bubbles is actually one of the most helpful birds in the scene, while Hal, well, let's just say he released a little early. Did a bit of an early bird, a quickie if you will. Hal's a bit of a 2-minute man. Quick sticked, rusty zipper, preemy creamy. Oh, what? Oh, don't ever use Reddit, dude. What the fuck? The weirdest thing is that the main flock all got celebrity voices like Jason Sudeikis and Maya Rudolph, but Bubbles and Hal were Ian and Anthony from Smosh. I cannot think of a more random choice for their voices. What does Smosh have to do with Angry Birds? I wouldn't mind if they sounded good, but genuinely they're not fitting for these roles. Thankfully though, Ian did a worse job, I'd say. When Anthony left Smosh, they made the second movie after and only invited Anthony back for Hal, which is crazy. He only had like 2 lines, but at least he's there. Hal is definitely the type of guy to get his wallet stolen, you can't deny it. Anyways, I think they did a pretty decent job with movie Hal. I just wish he was given a chance to do something. Maybe he'll be back for the 3rd? There's no way, but it'd be awesome. Movie Hal's a B tier, I think. They couldn't waste all that Smosh money on just a couple voice lines though. Ian and Anthony are improv legends. They should improv a whole little bit and we'll animate it. This is comedy gold.
You would look more angry if you were upside down, and then your smile would look like a frown.
You would look more angry if you weren't an idiot. So there.
Well,
see, that's me being angry. I called you a name.
I'm so angry. Stop calling me names.
That's right.
Unironically, I actually do like that they gave these two their own little short, and I used to watch it every now and again before the movie came out because I thought it was funny. The art style feels like those DreamWorks shows they make for their movies, like Captain Underpants or Trolls. You guys know what I'm talking about? The highly detailed actual movie design is obviously just superior, so D tier. Sadly, there's no Hal Halloween costumes, or Halloween costumes, if you will. So let's instead start with the Big Green Doodle book. As the world's biggest Hal fan, of course I own this. I doodle in nearly every page. Now I know some of these drawings aren't amazing, but cut me some slack. I did these at least 2 months ago, and I think I've really gotten better since then. Nah, I was a kid, and clearly I had a gift. Look at that whale dude, now that's art. Some other standout doodles of mine are Hal riding a cat, his crazy reflection, becoming an angry snowman, the wrong egg, a mountain of pigs just full of detail. Is this art? That wasn't rhetorical, by the way, of course it is, and his horrible curse he found. I'd be shocked too, Hal. Anyways, there was a weird art style to this book, so I think we should add a version of Hal colored in by yours truly to our list. A tier. Hal never got too many toys. There's his few telepods, first being his Go car, which I'm a proud owner of course. There is so much detail in this little thing, it is by far my favorite telepod I own. S tier. And most of the Transformers telepods I've seen are really not great, but just look at that Grimlock. They made 3 Grimlocks, and there's even an unreleased model for Trypticon. Considering combiners wouldn't really work here, we literally got all the Grimlock variants. I mean, to be fair, once they made the first one, it's really easy to just recolor the same model, and we all know Transformers loves doing that, but still crazy. The translucent beak on the Energon one is by far the best, and the rest are okay. Check the list to see where they go. While we're on the topic, here's Grimlock's head grafted onto a massive Jenga tower. He's looking like a double-wide surprise here. I don't know why Grimlock is being forced to get his inside smashed out for fun, but this is awesome. I can't even deny it. S tier. I had the whole flock of plushies when I was a kid. Red, Chuck, Matilda, Stella, Blue, Stinky Steve, Bubble. Wait a minute, is that a Stinky Steve plush that you can buy from the link in the description? Hal only ever got a plush on his original design, which is fine, but it still had a bit of an evolution. For example, he started with an open beak, which is fun. Structurally, it's probably not great, but it is fun. Then they gave him a closed mouth, which is the one I had. Some even have this yellow ring around his beak, while others don't. And then some other company made this Hal, and I only like this one because it makes me laugh uncontrollably. I'm not sure where I put them on the list, I'll let future me decide. I saw they made a little looper plane for Hal, and that's pretty cool. But then I saw it look like this. They didn't even try, they stretched his face to fit on the tip of this plane horribly, and that deserves F tier more than anything. There's this hunk of plastic molded into the vague shape of Hal from the movie. I don't know if this is a McDonald's toy, but it definitely has the energy of one. F tier. Hal Golf Ball, I repeat, Hal Golf Ball. And lastly, the most obvious Hal merch you could find, a boomerang. Or in this case, a Zoomerang. They just smacked the PNG of Hal on it and called it a day, but it's not the worst, right? Let's end our merch section with a D tier. Now that we're back to the games, Hal has been really begging for his next redesign, so here you go. Angry Birds Friends gave us a modern art style, and it is horrible for all characters, but quite possibly the worst for Hal. Every other design I am completely fine with becoming the new Hal, but I just simply despise him here. He got his hair back, he's all green, but they kept his yellow circle and they made him all lopsided and unappealing. Where's his personality? Where's the life in his eyes? I'm gonna cry. I'm literally mourning the death of Hal in this moment. F tier. We are 2 for 2 where I think a 3D design of an Angry Birds character is vastly superior to the 2D one. He's full of life again. He looks good. I guess that proves the only problem with the 2D one is the art style itself, huh? I'd give this a B. He's a good little boy. Thank God we have another redesign to replace that last one, and what a great one to switch to. Angry Birds 2 is not a perfect game, but getting Hal, Bubbles, and Stella added is just one of the coolest things ever. And while Hal is still bald, he's back to basics, and honestly pretty great. I am perfectly happy with this design, and I think it's able to capture his personality super well. Not only that, but they just made him insanely OP. Like, better at destroying stuff than Terrence. Better yet, he can be activated after bumping into something, like a tower, so he'll just start spinning in the tower and cause massive destruction. It's not necessarily easy to use, but very powerful when done well. Nice job, Angry Birds 2, you've earned yourself an S tier. Let's go through just one last lightning round to cover all the games I haven't gotten to yet, in really no particular order. Angry Birds Action never actually included Hal, but they did make a 3D model of his movie form. It's kind of a middle ground between the animated short and the movie one, I'd say, so C tier it is. Hal could have been an Angry Birds Blast. I would have loved getting to match 3 with his little green face. What's cool is they were going to use his classic designs. It's really weird to see that yellow ring around his beak in the modern day. They're both C tier still, just nothing that special. The same can be said for Hal in Ace Fighters. It's cool he's here, but there's just not much to note about him, other than his wall-eyed expression in the slingshot. That's hilarious. They made a profile icon for Hal in Angry Birds Dream Blast, which is actually so awesome. We couldn't see him in this art style in any other way, so it's just a cool thing for them to do. He reminds me of Toucan Sam in this form, but I do like it. I'm putting it in B. Angry Birds Journey did the most fucked up thing possible. I apologize for the language, but you'll understand and probably say a few cuss words of your own in a second. Rather than making a cool icon with him in the new art style like Dream Blast did, they murdered him! Hal is dead in Angry Birds Journey. He was so young. Screw you, Romeo. That tombstone is about to have your name on it pretty soon. F tier. Our last and most recent Hal comes from Angry Birds Reloaded. And before you say something about how we already ranked this Hal from the Angry Birds Friends art style, clearly this is different. You can't see what's changed? I thought it was pretty obvious, but I guess I can spell it out for you. The little shine in his eye moved a couple inches. Now, that warrants a new ranking. S tier! Just kidding. Holy shit, can you imagine? This is obviously F tier again. Oh yeah, they also made space costumes for Matilda, Stella, and of course Hal. But Hal is by far the most boring. He's just metal with green analog eyeballs. It's a D tier Hal, realistically. Man, these last few have made me sad. I don't typically rank costumes, but at least Seasons uses the classic Hal, so I'm ranking these costumes, you can't stop me. Almost all of them are incredible, by the way. Let's go through them from worst to best. We got the mermaid one, the winter one, the witch one, the surfboard one, the grim reaper one, the alien one, the candy cane one, the present one, and from then on they are all perfection. Hal is a dragon. He's Where's Waldo? He delivers a big baby as a stork. He becomes a donkey? How are these costumes so good? How could I possibly choose which one to equip even? Let's put them on our list and wrap up this list now, shall we? I always ask you guys what versions of characters I should rank, and people always say a real sunflower or a real bomb, and I completely expected real toucan comments, but no, this time people wanted a real ass boomerang. What is actually wrong with you people? How have I cultivated this audience? Someone literally said Hal Tua. How brain rot do you have to be? I already have a Zoomerang on our list, but fine. There, I put a boomerang on the tier list. Are you entertained? Leave a freaking like on this video then. Jeez! So if the boomerang isn't the final Hal, then what is? I mean, is it not obvious? You think I would have forgot? Angry Birds' April Fool's Day joke was to release a full trailer for a game called Agree Birds with very unique character designs for the entire flock. Chuck's an old man, Mighty Eagle's a bagel, and Hal is Sasha Lynx. Hal's gotten so many redesigns, but all they had to freaking do was give him sexy legs and he's perfect. I know it's become a meme on my channel at this point, but unironically, I really do love Sasha Lynx. Not only for the obvious reasons, but because it is such an insane, unexpected choice that is so stupid and so funny all at the same time. Like all Hals, it is insane Sasha Lynx is real, and she's the definition of an S tier. Well, judging by the sheer amount of S tiers, I think it's safe to say I really like Hal. This is a biased tier list, I'm willing to admit that. But if you were ranking versions of your favorite character, I bet you'd do the same. It is still so crazy that there were that many redesigns for Hal, especially because I thought they nailed it pretty early on. But that just makes Hal an even more interesting character. He's used so rarely, and half the time he appears, he looks completely different. Isn't that a wild thing to do? Doesn't that make Hal just objectively one of the most exciting characters in the franchise? Honestly, the fact he is so underused is probably one of the main reasons I love him and love to see him, so thank you, Angry Birds. Thank you for all the decisions you made with my favorite green boy. Let me know which Hal is your favorite, and if you have a character you love as much as I love him, I want to hear about it. The bomb video wasn't a huge success, so I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one to see if I should continue going with more birds. If I were to choose another one, who should I choose? Thank you to my members, who were already cool, but will now be my favorite considering they were transformed into Hal. If you want to be a bird in the future, then please consider becoming a member of the channel today. Thank you Patrick Byerjean, Keep, Galguy, Jeff the Legend, Cheaper Ying, Test Monkey, Callum Ford, Perska Benener Checky, Mr. Odell, Timur Kuranov, Aaron the Ghoul, Freakish Smile, Ceramic Tiger, Geminot, Lewis, Omegon, Jonathan Biscoff, Lavatane, Green Man Yeah, McCrazy, Bright Streak, OK, Mirai, Dante, Skibbity, MGR, Damadan. I know I've mentioned the Stinky Steve plush like at least 3 times already, but please consider buying one and help us reach that 100 orders so Stinky Steve can be real. Trust me, I have one already and I cuddle with him every night, so get jealous and get your own so you can smell just as stinky as him. But he actually doesn't stink, I promise, he doesn't stink, he smells amazing even!
Hey! Yeah! Hey! Grandma! Cool! Ba-ba-dee-ba-dee-boo-boo. Dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-boo-boo. Hoo! Ooh! Ooh!